don't move to Everett, Washington without making sure that you get to know what's in it for you. Okay. Are you looking to know the pros and the cons, the good and the bad side of things about living in Everett, Washington? No worries, because I'm going to share with you the things that you will find interesting and reasons to move to here, as well as the things that might possibly be a deal breaker for you. Okay. By the end of this, you should be able to decide whether or not Everett is worth moving to based on the information I've provided. Stay tuned till the end as I'm going to share with you my unbiased local opinions about living in Everett. I have personally lived in Everett for about 5 years. We raised our kids partially in Everett, and I've lived in two different neighborhoods in this area, so I know kind of the inside scoop on it. I'm going to share that with you at the end of this video, okay? If this is your first time on the channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, the alert button, and you will get notified as our channel releases new videos. As the title of the page suggests, this channel is all about living in Snohomish County. So neighborhood stuff, community events, insider tips that you would want to know if you're evaluating this area. You're going to hear it all right here on this channel. Of course, we are a real estate sales team, so you're going to hear about real estate as well. You're going to see some beautiful houses, different neighborhoods, learn about the community, all of those types of things. So smash that subscribe button, hit the bell, and make sure you get notified about our newest videos so you don't miss anything. You can also go back and watch a bunch of our previous videos where we break down different cities, pros and cons of those areas, kind of give an overview of what to expect in those areas, and kind of give you a geographical map of them as well. Okay. My name is Mike Novak. I'm a team leader and also a real estate agent at the Novak team, part of Real Brokerage. Our team is located actually right here in Everett in the Silver Lake area is where our office is at. And we help about 250 families each and every year right here in Snohomish County make a move. We all live here, we all work here, we all play here, we all raise families here. So this is truly our community. And I'm going to share with you today everything that you need to know in just 1 minute about the pros and cons of Everett. Okay, so number one is a strong job market. You should be aware that Everett does have a very, very strong market. This is on the pro side of things. We're going to go through the pros first. And number one is definitely the strong job market that Everett has. There's about 110,000 people that live in Everett, and there's a robust economy that is here. There's some major employers in our area, and there's also people that live in Everett that drive to Seattle and Bellevue, where there's some mega employers. Think like Amazon and Microsoft and things like that, okay? But right here in Everett, your biggest employers are Boeing. If you go out on the Boeing Highway on your way to Mukilteo, you will see an enormous area out there at Payne Field where they are building airplanes. It's pretty cool if you drive by there. They've got the hangars open. You can see just the assembly lines as they're putting together the airplanes. It's fascinating to watch and really cool to go check out. But Boeing is one of the largest employers, if not the largest employer in Snohomish County, okay? The Naval Station is another major employer as well. There is a naval station right down the waterfront part of Everett, and they employ a lot of sailors down there. A lot of our clients actually are in the Navy, and they relocate to this area, okay? The third one, Providence Regional Medical Station, is in Everett. Both them and Everett Clinic employ a lot of people in the medical field, so it's very robust when it comes to jobs for that as well. But the job market here is pretty strong, and that's definitely one of the big benefits of Everett. You know, it's the biggest city north of Seattle, and while a lot of people drive into Seattle for work, a lot of people also live and work here in Everett, and they don't actually commute south or north. So something you definitely want to be aware of. Okay, next up is access to the outdoors. There's some really fantastic outdoor opportunities in Everett. Of course, Everett is a waterfront community, and so access to outdoors is definitely the second thing I want to make sure you're aware of on the pro side of things. But down by the water, you will see a major redevelopment area that's going on down there. There's restaurants like Scuttlebutt, Blue Water Distillery. There's Anthony's Woodfire, lots of different restaurants and things like that right on the water. And the area down there by the waterfront is super beautiful and definitely worth looking at. There's some parks down there as well. You also got High Trek Adventures in Zipline. It's kind of like a ropes course. Our team actually did this for a team event one day, and it was really galvanizing and pretty fun to do. So if you're afraid of heights, I don't recommend it, but if you're okay with heights, jump on up there, have a great time. Kids do love it too. It is tough to get to the top of this thing. It's like ropes and ladders and things you got to walk across, and you're like 40 or 50 feet in the air, and there's some zip lining involved as well. Legion Park is a really well-known park in Everett as well. Great place to go hang out with the family. There's so many parks in Everett that are just really beautifully incorporated into the city. It's one of the things I love about Everett is the way that they blend the parks into the actual neighborhoods itself. And then Evergreen Arboretum and Gardens also worth checking out as well. So the outdoor scene in Everett, pretty solid. Definitely something you want to be aware of. It's also only about an hour 15 from Stevens Pass. Like if you're a snowboarder or skier, you want to get out for the mountains. Stevens Pass is not that far of a drive to get to. They offer night skiing and awesome daytime skiing. Gets crowded on the weekends, but during the week, it's not so bad at all. So just keep that in mind. Okay, number three is access to Seattle on the pro side of things. That's also obviously like a huge benefit of Everett. A lot of people that work in Seattle, like a lot of them are our clients, and they will tell me that Everett is the furthest north they would want to look at if they're going to buy a house, because that's kind of like the absolute max commute they'd want to tolerate. So if you're going to be working in Seattle, my suggestion, I tell my clients this that are commuters, is make sure that you check the drive from the area in Everett you're thinking about to your place of work. Put that in Google Maps and time it at different times of the day when you would be driving. Maybe it's at 8 o'clock in the morning that you're going to be driving. Maybe it's at 7 a.m. Maybe it's at 4 p.m. Maybe it's at 5 p.m. But check the exact times that you would expect to be on the road commuting and make sure you're going to be okay with those drive times. The drive can be very unpredictable. Sometimes it's really fast, sometimes it's really slow, and that can be a difference between half an hour and 90 minutes. So you really want to know what you're getting yourself into to make sure that's going to meet your criteria for commuting into the city. There's also really good public transportation. There's obviously the light rail that's been going in for the last like 15 years down in Linwood. And then there's also bus transportation down into the city of Seattle as well. So you can definitely take advantage of that. There's plenty of ride share places off the freeway here in Everett where you can park your car and then hop on public transportation from there and ride the bus into the city. Okay, so Seattle and Bellevue, both about the same distance. Both is a major source of job and employment for people that live in Everett, and that's definitely one of the benefits of Everett. It's very much more affordable and inexpensive than living in Seattle, and it's an acceptable drive to most. Okay, number four on the pro side of things is the restaurants and bars. Like they definitely have a lot of dining options in Everett. Some of my personal favorites, Thai Gusto, really good. Katana Sushi, my kids love Katana Sushi. It is really fantastic. It's super fresh. Good service, fun atmosphere. Definitely go to Katana Sushi and check that out. Terracotta Red is like Asian fusion Thai kind of stuff. Also really good. It's close to Katana. These are like right in the downtown Everett area there. There's also Anthony's Woodfire, which is like a seafood kind of experience down on the waterfront, like I mentioned. Absolutely worth going to. There's plenty of burger places like Bob's Burger and Brew, Scuttlebutt, places like that where you could go get a burger as well. And then there's no shortage of breweries also, okay? So Middleton Brewery, Crucible Brewing, Scuttlebutt Brewing, there's like 10 or 15 breweries in Snohomish. Middleton is another one. And some of them are really small, some of them are quite a bit larger and have dining as well, but it's definitely a beer hub. So the Pacific Northwest is all about their beer, and Everett definitely embraces that. So check that out for sure if you are into the beer scene for sure. A lot of those places that are breweries allow dogs too. So if you want to bring your dog with you, most places are going to be okay with that. Okay. Number five on the pros list is a really vibrant cultural kind of experience in Everett. There's a lot going on here, like not at the level of Seattle. Like it doesn't have like the symphony and Key Arena or Climate Pledge Arena, whatever they call it now, where there's like always like huge events going on. But we do have Angel of the Winds Casino, which is the former Comcast Arena. It's right in downtown Everett, and they do host a number of concerts and things like that there. The minor league hockey team plays there as well. So that's the Silvertips, definitely worth checking out. We have the Imagine Children's Museum in downtown, which is a big attraction for families. Kids absolutely love Imagine, so definitely go make a weekend day out of that. Go to Imagine in the morning, go out for lunch after. It makes a really, really fun day. There's the Flying Heritage Museum that's connected to Boeing as well. And there's a couple of art galleries also. So there's really a decent cultural and artistic scene in Everett. It's, again, by no means at the level of Seattle, but it's not bad. Okay, so those are the pros to Seattle. And now let's jump into the cons, the not so good things, the things that people don't want to tell you that I'm going to pull back the curtain on and share with you exactly what I would want to know if I was considering Everett. Okay. First things first. Number one, there's some heavy traffic in this area. If you have not experienced rush hour down to Seattle from Everett, you're in for a shock. It can get really bad, like I said earlier. It can be up to 90 minutes sometimes. It can feel like a total standstill. There can be some really, really bad traffic in this area. There's just a lot of people that live here in a very condensed area, and the freeway is not super wide. A lot of areas it's 3 lanes, which is not that big compared to like LA where it's like 7 lanes wide. So it congests pretty badly. In Everett, you're most likely going to see congestion in South Everett on I-5. You're going to see it also by the Mukilteo Highway there, coming out to Payne Field. That can back up when Boeing gets off shift. When a shift ends there's a lot of traffic that hits the road. And then in the afternoon, what you will notice is in North Everett, it's going to bog down quite a bit as well. So basically from like Everett Mall Way up into North Everett, expect some pretty heavy traffic. If you're going to Lake Stevens, of course, you got to deal with the trestle. If you're going to Marysville, it's also going to be pretty thick traffic. Like really from like downtown middle Everett area all the way into Marysville, expect that to be pretty dense, heavy traffic. So that's definitely a negative that not a lot of people will tell you, but I will be super honest with you and just tell you that it's an issue and it's something you want to make sure you're going to be okay with, just totally depending on the times that you're going to be driving. Like I said, punch those destinations into Google Maps to make sure you're going to be okay with it. Okay, crime is the second con. Everett has a pretty high crime rate, but with that said, there's certain pocketed areas that have higher crime rates than others. As you get closer to the Highway 99, the crime rate tends to be quite a bit higher. I don't know why, it just is. But there's a lot of transient activity. There's a lot of drug activity in that area where Casino Road and Highway 99 come together and intersect. That's like the epicenter of it. So you got to be aware of that. Like there's certain areas you just want to be very selective on. If you're going to go visit those areas, go out to eat there, whatever else, just be aware that some of it is not so great. And the downtown area, it used to be pretty bad, but it's actually not that bad anymore. Downtown Everett's really safe. I'd feel totally comfortable with my wife walking down there 9 or 10 p.m. by herself. It's a very, very safe area at this point. Downtown Everett used to have a questionable reputation, but at this point, I've seen no problems with it for years. It's been cleaned up massively, not nearly as big of an issue. So there are some websites you can check out. We'll put up a link down below so you can put in, Everett and go research just a little bit more information on each individual neighborhood. But like I said, it really is clustered around the Highway 99 area and then Casino Road. That's the epicenter of it, okay? Directly connected into that is point number 3 on the con side, and that's poverty and homelessness. There's quite a bit of it going on here. It's really crept up from Seattle over the last 10 years, and it's an issue. South Everett is maybe one of the worst areas for it. In downtown Everett, you see a lot of poverty and homelessness as well. In particular, like kind of on the riverfront area of Everett, you can see some of that going on. Downtown Everett has a little bit as well. Downtown's gotten cleaned up quite a bit in the last few years, but it used to be pretty bad for that. So just be aware of that. Not everyone wants to be around that. And so I just want to be super upfront and honest. It's still an issue. It's not as bad as it was, but it is still problematic for some people. High cost of living is going to be number 4. And this is comparative, right? If you compare Everett to the United States, it's expensive to live here. If you compare Everett to Seattle and Bellevue, it's pretty dang affordable. So just keep that in mind. The average home price is right around $750,000 in Everett, and that puts your mortgage, higher than what some people are comfortable with. But with those higher costs of living come higher jobs too. Like if you look at the average income per household here, it's quite a bit higher than the average in the United States as well. So where you have higher incomes, you tend to have higher costs of living as well. The cost of real estate here is not cheap. The cost of renting here is also not cheap. So just something you want to be aware of. The last and final point is really just expensive housing in select areas. Like there's pockets of Everett that are really, really expensive, like, well into the 7 figures. The Silver Lake area, it's not into the 7 figures yet, but it is definitely pushing, like $700,000 to $900,000. There's other view areas of Everett that are expensive. Some of the downtown historic area, like by Rucker with view properties, is really expensive. And then where Mukilteo and Everett come together is also pretty expensive. So those are, just some things you want to be aware of. I promised you at the beginning of this video, I would share with you my personal story. So we actually had a condo right by Highway 99, and kind of where Home Depot is at in Everett. If you know where that's at, you can Google Home Depot Everett. That's where we lived for about 4 years. And we had a couple of young kids at the time. Our condo was broken into. It was not the best experience. We saw homeless people pretty often as well. So it was not the best. Our kids went into Mukilteo School District from there. So that was actually pretty good. Some of the Everett schools are not as good. But we moved from that location in Everett over into the Silver Lake area of Everett and had a much, much better experience. Silver Lake is one of the higher end neighborhoods in Everett, very desirable, big lots, nice homes, mostly built in the 90s and late 80s. And we absolutely loved living there. Like, awesome place to walk around, great neighborhood parks, really centrally located. So our experience in Silver Lake was really good. And we loved being like close to the city, being able to go to great restaurants, always having stuff to do with the kids, was a really, really fun point of our life, that we just that totally enjoyed. So I think Everett is totally worth looking in. You just need to make sure you know what you're getting when you're going to be buying a house there. Okay, so there you have it. The pros and the cons of Everett. There's some really, really good things. There's some things that you just need to be aware of as you're making decisions. These things matter more to some than they do to others. It's just totally dependent upon you. If you are thinking about buying a home or selling a home in Snohomish County, I want to be a resource for you. I want to help you with that. Like I said, we are a 5-star team right here in Everett, super local. We just specialize in Snohomish County. That's all we do. We're a Zillow premier team as well, which means we're in the top 1% of Zillow, and we are the #1 rated team in Snohomish County for sales. So we are fanatical and obsessed about what we do, and we do it at a very, very high level. There's 20 people on our team, a mixture of agents and support staff. So you're not just getting one person, you're getting the power of a major team and a lot of people working hard for you, whether it's marketing specific people, whether it's transaction coordination specific people, whether it's your agent. You have the support of more than just one person. So really powerful stuff. But there is a link below. You can schedule a free 15-minute call with me. I will personally get on that call with you and discuss what your home buying or selling goals are and see if our team could possibly be a good fit to help you.